Well, hey y'all, welcome to a Tennessee Thirsty Thursday on Uncle Bub's Bell Buckle Beer Reviews. And these flies are driving me crazy out here, dadgummit. I got a brew for you today out of Nashville, Tennessee. And y'all, I've got more than 1,000 videos up there on YouTube, different kinds of beers and some revisits and stuff like that. And I don't have a good way to tell if I've done some of these brews or not. Some of my labels or some of my video labeling is not the best in the world, so you know, if I go and look in my archives to try to find a beer by the name, because I didn't label them good when I first started this, I don't know. I can't find some of them. I don't think I've done this one before, but it's a possibility that I have. I just don't remember. But this is a Sarka Pilsner from the Jackalope Brewing Company out of Nashville. This is a 4.8% ABV, and it says, "Drink legendary. The warrior Sarka tied herself to a tree, cried to her foes, 'Help, come set me free.' Feeling heroic, they loosened her ropes. In thanks she poured mead, and they drank in the dopes." Okay. Suddenly drowsy, they fell asleep, and stone cold Miss Sarka made 'em dead meat. This Pilsner's no trick, but a treat for your thirst, as cool and as crafty as Sarka the First. Alright, so that's what we've got today, is a Sarka Pilsner, 4.8% ABV. Now, the thing about the Jackalope Brewery, there in Nashville, I guess they use a local artist or something. All their beer has some certain kind of artwork on it, and this is Sarka here. She's got like some kind of goblet or something there. It's pouring something out of it, whatever. So anyway, I don't know what all that means, but government warning, all that kind of good garbage. www.jackalopebrew.com if you want to go check out the website, and I encourage you to do that if you want to. So we're going to try this Sarka Pilsner today on a Tennessee Thirsty Thursday. Now, on the bottom of the can, this thing is dated September 16th of 2024, so it's out of date by about 9 months, or it's 9 months past the canned on date, whatever that's worth. Hopefully it won't taste like crap, being a 4.8%. My understanding is that beer most of the time has a 6-month shelf life, give or take, and depending on the ABV, if you've got a higher ABV, 8% or above, it can age, quite well for years, is my understanding. But lower than 8% ABV, it can go bad. So we're fixing to find out what we got here. This one's about, I don't know, 9 months past the canned on date. Looks like it's got just a little touch of haze to it, but it's a pretty straw gold. Let's get a whiff of that head. It doesn't smell bad. It doesn't really have any smell at all. Maybe a little bit of a beer aroma, but that's about it. The beer itself is a pretty gold color. A little bit hazy, just a little bit. Sarka Pilsner, 4.8% ABV. Get a taste of that head. Now, we'll say this, the head's kind of thin, but it does have a little bit of bitterness in the finish that I expect in a Pilsner. I like that. I expect my Pilsners to have a little bit of bitterness in the finish, and the flavor of that head is the head's thin, but it's got that bitter finish. It kind of tastes just like beer until you get to pushing it down there and you get that bitter finish. I like that. man, that's good. Alright, I got a little bit left in the can. That hazed it up a little bit more. Just pouring that off in there. Imagine when I swish this can and make it a little hazier. Yep, there's a little bit of a cloud settled right there underneath it. I can see when I poured it in there. It's still a pretty gold brew, man. Pretty gold color. Sarka Pilsner, 4.8% ABV from the Jackalope Brewing Company out of Nashville, Tennessee. The can itself kind of looks familiar, but I've done another one by Jackalope called Thunder Ann, and I may be thinking about the Thunder Ann label because it had a Thunder Ann was a female on the cover, just like this on the label, whatever. Just like this Sarka is a female on the label, so I may be thinking of that one. But yeah, I got a little bit of cloud right there underneath the very surface of it, and it's hazy. I can see the shadow of my finger, but I can't make out the details of my finger, so it's hazy enough you can't really see through it. Alright, so this Sarka Pilsner at a 4.8% ABV is for all American workers. Hey, I love and appreciate y'all. Thank you for the hard work that you do to provide for yourselves and your families. Pay your own damn way, just like I do. Not depending on our stinking, worthless government for anything. Cheers, brothers and sisters. That's not bad. Of course, if you watch my videos, you know that the Pilsner Urquell is my standard my gold standard for Pilsners is the Pilsner Urquell. I consider it an A+ brew, and I tend to compare all Pilsners to that. I mean, it's done in the Pilsen, Czech Republic, and it's just fantastic. It has a nice sharp bitterness throughout in the head, in the body, and it's just fantastic brew. And I compare all my Pilsners to it, which is probably not fair because, I mean, they've been doing it since, I don't know, 1800s or something. But they're the original Pilsner, or at least claim to be. So when I taste a Pilsner, I tend to compare it to that. Now, this one here, it's a lighter in color than the Pilsner Urquell. The flavor is not far off. I mean, it's not as good as a Pilsner Urquell. The carbonation is a little bit low, and the bitterness in the finish is not nearly as sharp. But it does have a good flavor. Even though it's, whatever, past the 6-month shelf life, I would say, it's still good. It does have a bitter finish, not as sharp, not as good as a Pilsner Urquell, but it's there. I'm gonna score it an A-. Being that it's out of date, possibly. Carbonation is kind of low. The bitter finish is not as crisp and as sharp as it might be if it were an in-date brew. But I can't complain that it doesn't taste bad. To be 9 months old after the can date, it doesn't taste bad at all. So I think A- is probably a pretty fair score for it. If you are in the Nashville area, you know, doing a beer tour or whatever, I'm about an hour away from Nashville, and I need to do that. I'm a homebody, y'all. If I ain't got nobody to drive me, I ain't driving. I ain't drinking and driving nowhere. I had a DUI back when I was in my early 20s, I guess. And I learned my lesson then. I get behind the wheel. If I've had one beer, I won't get behind the wheel. I just won't do it. Can't afford to. Just not worth it. But you know, if I could twist somebody's arm to be my designated driver for a day and do a beer tour in Nashville, I'd love to visit all these Nashville breweries. There's a bunch of them down there in Nashville. Well, hell, all over Tennessee for that matter. I'd love to do, you know, a tour of all of them. Anyway, whatever. If you see this Sarka Pilsner, give it a shot if you ain't never. It's a decent brew. It's better than decent. I mean, for what it is, A-, I think, would probably be an A if it was a little more fresh. Just my opinion, y'all. All right, that's been a Tennessee Thirsty Thursday this week. I'll be back tomorrow for a Fridays Are For You. I love and appreciate y'all. Y'all stay tuned. Take care. Cheers. That's still a good brew.